Back in 2003, BMW did the unthinkable. They put two diesel engines in their 3 Series E46 convertible, the 320 CD and the 330 CD. Now you can find diesel engines in every convertible in BMW's lineup, from the 2 Series, the 4 Series, the 6 Series and the 8 Series. Okay, you won't find it in the Z4, that's a roadster, that's a purebred sports car. But now we're here to find out if you should buy a convertible 4 Series with a 2000cc 4-pot diesel engine. The 4 Series had many trim options. You can buy the base model, the sport line, the luxury line, the modern line, and the M Sport. This is not an M car. You have different bumpers, different side sills, different rims, and these M Sport brakes. These are actually optional. You can have an M Sport car without these brakes. How do you recognize an M Sport car, apart from the obvious aesthetic goodies? M Sport models have two M badges, one on the left, one on the right. M Performance models, which are not full-on M cars, have 3 badges, 2 on the side, 1 on the back. And M cars have 4 badges, 1 in the front on the grille, 2 on the side, and 1 in the back. This car has M4 door mirrors. The owner replaced them for whatever reason. And also the grille, that's from an M car. It has dual slot grills, kidney grills. This is the 420D. It has a 2000cc diesel engine with 184 horsepower and a maximum torque of 380 Newton meters. This was the base diesel engine on this car, and it was the most sold engine on the BMW 4 Series. Interestingly, in Europe you could find a 4 Series Grand Coupe, the 418i, with a 3-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine. Even though this is the base engine and this car is pretty heavy, it can still reach 100 kilometers an hour in 7.5 seconds, 7.5 seconds. Interestingly, you have another BMW badge in case you forget what car you're driving, and the marketing tool, which is twin power turbo. This writing is only marketing. This car doesn't have 2 turbos. The 425 diesel has 2 turbochargers. This is the infamous N47 engine. It was plagued with timing chain problems. And there's another problem. The timing chain is in the back. You have to pull out the engine to replace the timing chain. It costs a lot of money. In 2015, the N47 was replaced with the B47, a newer generation engine, which had the timing chain in the front, which is good because those still had those timing chain problems. But at least you didn't have to get out the engine to change it. You can see how much space there is between the engine and the front of the car. There are 2 reasons for this. One, there are bigger engines in this car, a 3-liter straight 6. BMW doesn't do V6s. And also, all BMW fanboys know the drill. The engine ends on the axle. That gives it 50-50 weight distribution and a very dynamic feel. Interestingly enough, the 4 Series Coupe was made in Munich, the convertible was made in Regensburg, and the Grand Coupe was made in Dingolfing, all German factories. But it's funny that they weren't built together. This one, the convertible, having a metal top, is very heavy and it has a very high center of gravity, a higher one than a normal car. It has a dry weight of 1750 kilograms, which was unthinkable for BMW 15 years ago. The downside of having a big metal top is that you have to store it somewhere, so you lose a lot of boot space. This car has 370 liters of boot space normally, but with the roof folded, it has, I don't know, almost 100. And one thing you rarely find in convertible BMWs is an electric tow hook. So you can tow caravans and other things, or a boat. But I don't know many convertible owners who tow anything. This is a very rare BMW branded tow hook, electric one. This is a very high spec car. You have full LED lights. You could also buy it with halogen lights or xenon lights, but this one has the full adaptive LED lights. You have heated red leather sports seats with air scarves. At the top, infotainment system, sports gearbox with paddles, M Sport steering wheel, and this very rare red plastic trim. And everything is laid out well ergonomically. Many car fans say that BMW hasn't changed their interiors in 20 years, but there's a reason for that. Everything is very well laid out, and the quality is actually very good. Soft plastics here, soft plastics there, and a little bit of cheap plastics here. But the door pockets are still lined, so if you put your keys or your phone there, they won't rattle when you drive. You have 3 transmission options on the 4 Series, a 6-speed manual, an 8-speed automatic ZF without paddles, and the Sport automatic, which came with paddles and a different shifter. And let me show you a neat trick. Let's say you put the car in drive. You want to drive the car in sport mode with paddles. If you want to put it in park, you don't have to put it in D and then in park. You can just press park and the transmission resumes its normal place. Amongst other things, this car is equipped with a head-up display, adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, front cameras, rear cameras, a drive mode selector. You can change from Eco Pro to Comfort to Sport, and Sport Plus, because this has the optional M Sport suspension with adaptive dampers. But although this car is very modern in itself, they still kept the normal handbrake, which is a nice touch because new BMWs don't have this. Although they look almost identical, there is a difference between this M Sport steering wheel and the full-on M steering wheel. That one has metallic paddles, M branded stitching in the colors of BMW Motorsport, and a little carving in the center spoke, which this one doesn't have. A very lovely touch is that if you're driving and it's cold outside and you want to close all the windows, all 4 of them, you don't have to press 4 different buttons. There's one for all 4. And if you're still chilly, you have these 2 air scarves which blow hot air onto your neck, and believe me, the sensation is magical. BMW infotainment systems are amongst the best in the industry, and this one has stood the test of time. It's not a touch screen. You control it via this click wheel and these shortcut buttons. Depending on the year, they can have Apple CarPlay, and from 2017 onwards, they even have a touchscreen, so you can control it in 2 ways. The sound system, the Harman Kardon sound system, gets top marks from me, and you have this connected drive app. You can lock and unlock the car and see how much fuel you have in the car from your mobile phone. And there's another touch that only BMW enthusiasts know, or somebody who's ever been in a BMW. These numbered buttons are actually touch sensitive. And also the navigation system is still up to date. Even if it's 6 years old, it gets updates, and it has the majority of Europe really well cartographed. What a beautiful day to be driving a convertible BMW, or any convertible for that matter. Okay, so let's talk about the seating position first. It's a very BMW-esque seating position. You sit low down, you can see the hood, everything is ergonomically placed, the steering wheel, the shifter, everything has a sporty feel to it, a sporty vibe. But there is one drawback. This M Sport steering wheel is a bit thick. I don't know, maybe I have small hands, but I find it thick, and the paddles are too small. I would have preferred them to be a little bit longer. This 8-speed automatic transmission in comfort mode really keeps the engine under 1500 RPM, which means, wow, 1200 RPM, which means you have this diesel growly noise, the accelerator pedal, the gas pedal doesn't have much feel to it, much response to it. I get it. You're supposed to enjoy the ride, have a decent fuel economy, and cruise around. But it's really not pleasurable if you want to feel anything. That's because it was an EcoPro, sorry. In comfort, much of the same thing, but the engine does not disconnect from the transmission like it does in EcoPro mode. A little bit of throttle gets you around, but the engine still has that diesel rough sound. The N47 was one of those engines, one of those rattly ones, one of those traka engines. Apart from the engine noise and a little bit of road noise, there's actually not much wind noise. I have all four windows up and the wind deflector also. You can travel at around 100 kilometers an hour and still have a pleasant conversation inside the 4 Series convertible. Feedback is lacking in every mode, Sport Plus, Comfort mode, but the waiting in Comfort mode is more pleasurable than that in Sport mode because it stiffens up but still doesn't give you that feel, that BMW DNA. These adaptive dampers are very comfortable, even in Sport mode. They really do a good job and I feel they deserve the money you pay for them. They're really worth it. I don't mind the normal suspension. I've driven the normal suspension. I've driven the M Sport suspension. I prefer this one. But if you had to choose between the normal one and the Sport one, get the normal one. But what happens if you want to enjoy a nice country road, a nice bendy road? What happens? You put the gearbox in Sport, put the car in Sport or Sport Plus, and you just want to go. Throttle response is sharpened up, steering stiffens up with no extra feel, and in manual mode, this is one of the best automatic transmissions on the market today. In comfort, gear changes are seamless. You don't actually feel the gear change. But in Sport mode and in manual, you have a little mechanic feedback that you're actually doing something mechanical. You're engaged with the car. That being said, the extra weight of the car really penalizes it. Although you don't need more power. I've never been one to appreciate a lot of power. But a good throttle response, if you keep the car in its torque bracket, acceleration response is pretty good and you can really enjoy it. But the two downsides that don't make this car a sports car are the weight and this kind of synthetic deconnected electric power steering. That being said, the 4 Series convertible is a nice car to drive and I really enjoy it and I would drive it more, but sadly I have to give it back. And one more mention, although the car is planted on a road and you can take bends at a high rate of knots, there is a slight sensation of understeer. I don't know why. Maybe it's the way. Maybe it's the way the steering is set up, the suspension. You can correct the understeer with a little bit of throttle, but you have to be in the right gear, in the torque bracket, in that sort of narrow torque band that this N47 2-liter diesel engine has. I don't know. It's not a bad car, but it's not a BMW. It's still a good luxury car, a comfortable one, and one that gives you a lot of brand image, even 6 years after its launch. But if you want sportiness and if you want anything, everything and anything that this chassis can give you, just buy the M4. This is more of a cruiser. So this is the BMW 4 Series convertible with the base diesel engine. It's not a sports car and the engine is a bit noisy, but the gearbox is pretty great and it's a very good luxury car, new or used. If you enjoyed this video, you can support this channel by subscribing, by leaving a like and a comment. I promise I'll read each and every one of them. This has been from me. See you next time.